It is mailbag time here on Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. You got questions, you're in luck because I got answers, my friends. And I've already done some digging into the mailbag. I've seen some questions about trading for Trevon Diggs, also DJ Moore. I know you guys want to talk draft and some free agency stuff. We'll go over all of that coming up here on today's show. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Begin with a $5 super chat from Myron, who writes in, what is the latest on free agents, offensive linemen right now, movement right now? Well, we heard from John Schneider earlier this week, and he said that he is in a holding pattern, that it will likely be after the draft before he signs a free agent offensive lineman. And that will likely be a cap casualty type of player. And that is not the news we were wanting to hear, because to add context, usually speaking, not always the case, but usually speaking, at this time of year, your cap casualty players are guys that you do not want on your team. It's basically a glorified waiver wire. So Seattle at the offensive line, when it comes to free agents, they are going to settle on somebody that is not good enough to play for another team, but is good enough to play for Seattle. That's certainly reassuring. That feels great. So it tells me that their focus is more so on the draft to address this situation. What is concerning is that Seattle's history tells us they don't like to spend high draft picks on the offensive line, specifically the interior of the offensive line. So I'm not feeling so great that this situation is going to get handled, because it's the number one thing holding Seattle back from being a playoff team next year is fixing this offensive line. And right now, it is far from fixed, my friends. Folks, I want to make sure not only you're subscribed to Seattle Seahawks Today, but also that you are a part of the Noti Gang. Those are the people that have their notifications turned on. They're the first to know when we have new content here on the channel, whether it's a live show, whether it's a mailbag, or you guys are getting to submit questions to us in real time like we do each and every Wednesday here on the channel. We got it all here on Seahawks Today. We're bringing you 2 and 3 videos a day, breaking news, everything, all in one place. Subscribe now for free and turn on your notifications. That way you never miss a moment. Join the Noti Gang. If you're part of the Noti Gang, spam Noti Gang in the comments section and subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Turn on that Noti bell, and we'll continue here on today's show. Seahawks, Hawks all day writes in, could the Seahawks trade for Trevon Diggs? So I've heard some rumblings that Dallas could be potentially looking to move Trevon Diggs. And with Diggs, you get the good and the bad. He has done a really good job of creating turnovers. He's been an interception machine. You go back to 2021 when he had 11 interceptions. That was an unreal season from him. But this is somebody that, while he does a really good job of creating takeaways, he has struggled in coverage. Either he's getting an interception or he's giving up a big play. It's one or the other. And to me, as Diggs gets older, the money that he costs, I don't necessarily like that proposition. I can find guys for a cheaper price that can go create turnovers and that won't give up the big plays that Trevon Diggs gives up. He is a guy that I think you love to play with in Madden, but then when he's giving up all those yardage in real football, you're beyond frustrated. So I would lean towards no. I would not want to trade for Trevon Diggs at this point. Should the Seahawks trade for Diggs? It's our pinned comment today. You got 2 options. You can type T for trade, or you can type P for pass. Way in the comment section, let us know which way you lean towards. Today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Just 2 more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. Springtime is here. Baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks lineup, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash today. On PrizePicks, you can mix and match player projections from different sports. Combine your favorite baseball players with players from basketball, hockey, esports, and much more. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly. When you play $5, you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. The second half of the basketball season is here, and the push to the playoffs is heating up on PrizePicks, the best place to win cash in your favorite sports. Download the app today. Use code CLS. Get $50 instantly after you play your $5 lineup, your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use code CLS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. The big dance going on in San Antonio. I am there, and I am vibing in San Antonio, folks. A heck of a time. I went with, for Saturday's games, Emmanuel Sharp for the Houston Cougars against Duke to have more than 13.5 points. Went with Walter Clayton Jr. of Florida against Auburn to have less than 20.5 points. If I put $20 down, both those hit, turns into $60 on PrizePicks. Play along with me, PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. PrizePicks, run your game. Check out PrizePicks today. All right, next question. Jason Tucker writes in, #Seahawks, who should we really get for offensive line? Well, I'm looking at the draft. There's a number of names that I would sit here and feel pretty good about. Will Campbell, I think you'd have to trade up for. Kelvin Banks, I'd be very excited if he's still available at 18. I think he'd be great. Gray Zabel from North Dakota State is another guy that catches my attention, I think would be very good. And then Tyler Booker at the guard spot. If you want a true guard, he is the best true guard in this draft. If Seattle doesn't take an offensive lineman in that first round, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. I hope they do. We'll see. 12s for life writes in, any chance the Seahawks would be interested in trading for DJ Moore? DJ Moore, there's been some rumblings that Chicago might want to move on from him. Last season came close to 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, close to 100 catches. He's really, really good. You know, I would say that if he is actually available and if the cost is reasonable, I would be all ears to bring in DJ Moore. And then you have a loaded receiver room with Cooper Kupp and JSN and DJ Moore. Then you got MVS there. You'd be feeling really good potentially if you brought him in. But I don't know if Seattle feels the same way I do. I think that if you brought in a guy like DJ Moore, then you don't have to draft a receiver, and you get a sure thing with DJ Moore. He's been so consistent throughout his career, I think you'd be feeling pretty good. But it all depends on what the price tag is. But I'd be interested. I don't know if Seattle would be interested. Should the Seahawks trade for DJ Moore? You got 2 options here. You can type Y for yes, N for no. What do you think about the possibility of bringing him in? Weigh in and let us know. C-Fire JM writes in, what will it likely cost to trade up to Will Campbell? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because this is something we talked about on the show this week. There was a trade idea that the folks at Athlon, does anybody even still read Athlon these days? They put together this trade package. They had Seattle moving up to 10 to get Will Campbell, and all they had to give up was the 18th overall pick and the 50th overall pick. They give up those 2 picks and move up to 10. Sign me up, and you get arguably the best offensive lineman in this draft. To me, I think that is a very reasonable situation for Seattle if that opportunity presents itself. If Chicago wants to trade down, you got 10 picks in this draft. You're likely not going to use all 10 picks. you're at a position of strength, and you get your guy you're looking for. I think Will Campbell starts at the guard spot at this level and then potentially moves over to the tackle spot. There are some questions about his arm length, and that's probably one of the reasons why he starts as a guard. I don't know if Seattle's going to re-sign Abraham Lucas. I think they would lean towards no at this point, so maybe he starts at guard. Abe moves on, and you slide him over to the right tackle spot after that. So, yeah, Will Campbell, I'll find a place for him. I'd be more than willing to trade up and bring him in. Jefferton writes in, will Kenneth Grant be available at 18, and do you think the Hawks will draft him if he is? He very well could be. I think he's within that range where Seattle's picking 18. But I hope they don't. I hope they don't draft him because I want a lineman. I want a lineman, damn it. Kenneth Grant's a good football player, and I think he's going to have a very good career. But you have more pressing things. You have more things you need to take care of on this offensive line. If you get Kenneth Grant, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to be disappointed. Now, let's see what they do about the offensive line with the other picks. The Boskin writing in, what will be the first 3 picks for the Hawks without an O-line pick because John hates the O-line? Well, if they ignore the offensive line, we've heard reports that the receiver position could be an option, whether it's a Matthew Golden or a Mecca Ibuka. Then I would think corner would be a possibility with Revel as an option there. And then if I can't pick offensive linemen, then probably an edge rusher or defensive lineman gets in that mix potentially as far as that goes. But I hope they don't waste those 3 picks without getting an offensive lineman. Last question. Steve J. writes in, could Jeff Bezos be the next owner of the Hawks? Steve, yes. Yes, he very well could. We know that Jody's going to sell this team someday. It's in the bylaws of the transfer after Paul's death that this team has to be sold at some point. And I would say the favorite is Jeff Bezos. He passed on the Washington Commanders. One of the things that we talked about on this show before was some people asked, what about Amazon owning Thursday Night Football? Is that a conflict of interest? And the NFL has already said it's not a conflict of interest. Amazon can have Thursday Night Football, and Jeff Bezos can be an NFL owner. And he's got more money than God. He would give them every resource imaginable. You talk about facilities. I know that Lumen's a great stadium, but he could make it even tip-top shape, even better than what it is. He could upgrade the practice facility, all the locker rooms, everything you could possibly imagine for these players. Jeff Bezos could do that other owners might not be able to do. And here's another element I would throw in out there, whether it's Jeff Bezos or any owner that could potentially buy the team. Now, the NFL is allowing 10% ownership stake to private equity. And I know a lot of people may not like private equity, and believe me, I understand why. But I would say that whoever buys the team, I would say there's a greater than 10% chance that private equity will likely be involved in the next ownership group. And by the time that the Seahawks do sell, whether it's in a couple of years from now or however long it may be, the NFL might raise the stakes where private equity gets to own a larger percentage than just 10%. Basically, we are through with the days of one owner owning a team. You pretty much, because of how expensive these teams are, you have to have an ownership group. And Jeff Bezos could dish out the most cash. He could be spending 80 or 90% of it, but there's going to be other people involved, whether it's private equity or maybe it's a former player or other business partners. It's going to be a lot potentially. But yes, Jeff Bezos, I would be all ears. I would love it if Jeff Bezos bought this Seahawks team because they could do whatever they wanted. Obviously, you're strapped with the salary cap, but everything else, they could be in tip-top shape and be in as good a shape, if not better, than any team in the league with Bezos as the owner and everything Jeff Bezos does. You may love him or hate him, but when it comes to Amazon, when it comes to the Washington Post, when it comes to his space exploration, Jeff Bezos is successful in every single thing he does. And I have no reason to think he wouldn't be successful with the Seattle Seahawks, too. For more Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.